Okay, the journey begins. Here we go. We are going to meet the group from Trek Bicycle Adventures. We've been touring in Amsterdam for a couple of days, and now it's just a matter of getting our real bikes and taking off. We met the crew and the rest of the riders for the week on a wharf called the NDSM, that stands for Netherlands Dock and Shipbuilding Company. It's a former shipyard located on the banks of the River Ij in Amsterdam, and now it's a cultural hotspot with lots of bars and restaurants. The area hosts festivals, performances, that kind of thing. It's also where the ferry docks to carry people back and forth, including massive numbers of daily cyclists who use bikes to commute to work. Of course, this is Amsterdam. There's our bikes for the week. Will it be? And it's raining. All right, we're about to get started here. We'll be the obvious people because in the Netherlands nobody wears a helmet, but we're wearing helmets. But the only concern that I have right now today, honestly, is we're about to get started, is I can't figure out how to dress. It's about 50 degrees and the sun has come out, and then it started raining, and then the sun has come out and it started raining. I don't know how many layers to wear. I don't know where I'm going. There's a little bit of early anxiety for me. I mean, we're all feeling this, so it's not just me. Everybody in my group from Virginia.
Here in Europe, the maximum speed limit.
Our adventure would begin on the ferry, which would take us on a 15-minute ride across the river and back to Amsterdam proper. We're on the ferry. It's about to dock. On the other side, we're going to do a few kilometers on the outskirts of Amsterdam, and then we'll be riding out into the country eventually. And this ride is just about to officially begin. At this point, I was just anxious to get going. I wanted to see how the bike would feel and see some of the Netherlands outside of Amsterdam. Of course, we'd already spent 2 days as tourists in Amsterdam, not part of our Trek travel adventure. We were on our own for this, and we learned of the Nazi atrocities and visited the area where Anne Frank lived. We tried the famous bitterballen, which is a Dutch snack filled with meat and then deep fried. We walked through the Basilica of St. Nicholas. We ate at lots of outdoor cafes and saw more bicycles than any of us had ever seen in our entire lives. We toured the city on a canal boat where, over wine and cheese, the guide joked that the canals can be difficult to navigate because of the thousands of bicycles that people throw in every year, and it literally is thousands. Breakfast at the Grand Hotel Amrak, where we stayed, was out of this world and definitely worth a mention. And after 2 days of touring, the bike riding was about to begin, as we then arrived at that starting point for our cycling adventure. Once off the ferry, we rode along the outskirts of Amsterdam on those bike paths and eventually along the Amsterdam-Rhine Canal. We've been riding for half an hour or so. Weather isn't too bad. Everything's been kind of next to this canal, lots of boats, and it's just really interesting to see how they do things in the Netherlands. It's all about pumping water into these canals and maintaining water levels. If you look, there's a windmill over there. That's the first one we've seen. Some cows and the canal. We've been riding the path next to the canal. Really cool. All the trees are just like forever. On the way, we stopped at a small farm where they make their own cheese, all the way from cows to consumer. Tell me what we have for snacks here today.
Snacks today, if you want to come over and look at our snacks. We have some cheese that we've just got from this local cheese farm, and some jellies, some nuts, so help yourself, enjoy.
Tell me about your cheese. What kind is it?
Gouda.
Gouda. Very good.
Gouda, the real Gouda. Come on and follow me. Let me go. Any other?
When did you make this?
Yeah, Friday.
Friday.
2 days. 2 days old.
Wow. Weir's Cheese Factory.
For farmers' cheese, it is forbidden to pasteurize your milk. That's Europe. We are lucky. Good for the flavor of the cheese.
This ride ended at a bistro near a castle, the Castle Slottseilen, a historic castle on the river Vecht. So we have just arrived, and this is absolutely beautiful. I didn't video much on the bike ride itself because we were told specifically not to, which is what I've always done. So I'm just gonna have to describe it to you, but it was just gorgeous. Between the canals, there's lots of wildlife, waterfowl, and then we went through about 20K of these unbelievably gorgeous homes that were right up against the canal that were built by the industrial leaders of the country in the 1600s. It's just mansion after mansion after mansion. A lot of times we're in their backyards. And then the roads were very narrow, but we would be sharing them with like small cars. I got interrupted just a little bit ago when I was talking about the roads on today's bike ride. We're at a castle right now. That's the castle behind me. You can't really see how grand it is, but it's got a moat around it and everything. It's really nice, and this is just kind of the grounds right here. But I want to talk a little bit about the roads that we were on today. So we probably saw more cyclists on these roads than anything else, but they are open to traffic, and we would see a lot of cars. But the cars, for the most part, were these little tiny cars that are even smaller than like a smart car that we have in the United States. But they would come right along. People would say, car up or not. And the cars were sharing the road with us. And then there were a couple of times when full-size cars were there. People were very polite. They're aware of the cyclists. They expect you to be a good cyclist here. So everybody just kind of understands, we're going to slow down. You're going to get out of the way. I'm going to keep going. And that's the way it is. And I actually got pushed into a hedge, not by somebody who was being belligerent, but there just wasn't any room for them to go. There wasn't any room for me to go, and I didn't really have room to put a foot down and lean over. So I just kind of brushed the bike right up against the hedge and kept on riding. Now it was time to move on to The Hague, where we would stay at the gorgeous Hotel Indigo just across the street from one of the country's 3 royal palaces. In the lobby, a photo of the King and Queen greeted us as a reminder of where we were. Just for the record, our hotel is right across from the palace. I mean, I'm not kidding. And the flag flying means the king is in. In The Hague, we enjoyed a cool outdoor market with sort of a very European flair, and we just generally took in the city's ambiance. So we ate in a vault. Like, that's the door, and that's where the gold was kept, and that's where we ate.
Good night.
Right after we had the wine. Good night.
Good night.
The next day, we took a van ride to the famous Keukenhof gardens, which were in full display. It was a rainy morning, but it really gave the area a feel of walking through a watercolor. It's day 2, and we're riding along the North Sea. These are all sand dunes. It's beautiful. These dunes are incredible. They're about 20 or 30 feet high. Everybody's with us here. It's really pretty. You could see the ocean a minute ago, but then we lost it in the dunes. So we're riding through this community near the North Sea. A lot going on today. Lots of bikes. We've gone about 12 miles. We started at the Keukenhof tulip farm. There's the North Sea right there. Eventually we found ourselves back in the countryside, riding along canals and a sea of green fields. We're back in the Hague. Where are we, Jacob? We did it, right? Beautiful. So that's the end of day 2. Amazing. We're back in The Hague, and it was a great ride. We saw all kinds of different stuff. We started at the famous tulip farm, went along the North Sea, and came back to The Hague. Boom.
All at once in a dream, we are together.
We had seen tulips. Next came the windmills. The windmills were used to pump water into a large basin, which would then be, the water would rise up and then flow out into the river, and that's how they created land to live on. Families would actually live inside these windmills. This was just a small part of the living quarters. Very small. Bed behind me. It's one thing to see the windmills and understand how they helped create the Netherlands, but it's another to bike through them. Very windy, but we are cycling through the windmills right now. The canals on either side, lots of birds. You got me. We rode along a bike path with beautiful homes on either side. Yeah, you don't see anything. Nothing to see here. I see that. Then we came to the Lek River. About 45 minutes into the ride today, and now we're about to get on a ferry and cross the river, and eventually we're going to a cheese factory.
بالمرة سوق جمعيلي مرة برداين.
Then it was on to a commercial cheese factory where they make much more Gouda than that small farm we'd seen earlier in the trip.
What did I hear? When will it ever be enough?
We're riding right now in the town of Gouda. I think in America we'd say Gouda, like Gouda cheese. It's just this beautiful old city. Really pretty, quaint, open-air markets, cafes, shopping. Just super pretty. We're at the halfway point of today. So we have still got about 37 kilometers to go. And we are exactly halfway. Half the group is stopping and getting in the shuttle, which was an option, and we're opting to ride on.
If only I could build a tower, pierce right through the clouds, saxophones at every hour. Who hasn't heard of me now?
Right now we are in the town of Delft, which is famous for pottery. You probably would recognize it if you've ever seen that blue and white pottery that comes from Holland. This would be the town where that originated.
When it gets loud, when will it ever be enough? Ever be enough? Ever be enough? When
Left.
will it ever be enough? Ever be enough? Ever be enough?
The next day began along the North Sea as we would ride from the Netherlands to Bruges, Belgium. We stopped for lunch in a famous fortress town called Sluis, which had its own windmill and shopping for, well, just about anything. We are leaving the town of Sluis. Very pretty. We're about 2K from crossing into Belgium. So we're almost done with the Netherlands. And we've got to ride beside this canal for the whole trip into Bruges.
So here we are. We're pretty much on the border between Belgium and the Netherlands.
We put a foot in each.
Foot in each.
Yeah, foot in each
country.
We'll put a tire in each.
There you go.
Here we go.
This is all there is to show that we're crossing into Belgium. And this is it.
Here we are.
And I'm in Belgium. Welcome to Belgium. beautiful sort of tunnel of trees. And according to my bike computer right now, we're exactly 5K from our destination in Bruges. We are in Bruges with legitimate cobblestones. It was exciting to arrive in Bruges. It's a medieval city famous for its exceptionally well-preserved historic center, the winding canals earning it the nickname of the Venice of the North, the Gothic architecture, cobblestone streets, and rich history as a medieval trading hub. The cobbled streets were no joke. We got over the bumps okay on our bikes, but you definitely noticed them. We stayed at the Panned Hotel right in the middle of everything so we could explore the city on foot during our non-riding time. At first, we just saw the canals from shore, from the bank, if you will, or from a bridge, but later we would be in one of those boats. On the first night, however, we took in the charm of the city and the famous Kissing Bridge. But the next morning it was back on the bikes as we rode from Bruges to the AtlantikWall Museum. To get there, we rode through the Belgian countryside. We took a pit stop at a bar that also served hot chocolate, more appropriate for that time of day, and we learned of a beer that had a tie to cycling and bike racing.
So welcome to Belgium, our beautiful bar here. And then, if you look at the bar tab, it's also with an old cyclist with the Quaremont, the most famous beer in Belgium among cyclists. And they made the beer 6.6%, just as the climb is, the steepness.
For the Tour of Flanders.
On the Tour of Flanders.
Take me to the ruins.
Eventually, we arrived in Oostende, where we rode along the coast until we got to the museum, which showed how the Germans were dug in along the coast to defend against an Allied attack during World War II. The tunnels and hidden rooms have been protected to show how evolved they were for their time. We just went to the AtlantikWall Museum. We rode from Bruges. It's about 18 miles. 22 miles, thereabouts. It was all measured in Ks, I don't know. And now we're riding back to Bruges. We stopped at a really interesting drawbridge. It's all done with like hydraulics from one side. We've already seen one of these today. It's really interesting engineering. But of course, we came to ride our bikes. And honestly, the trip back to Bruges would be kind of brutal. First thing I want to talk about is the wind. Second thing I want to talk about is the wind. Because today it's all been about the wind. We've been on this beautiful greenway next to the canal for, I don't know, 15 miles. And the wind has just been horrendous the whole way. Just a headwind in our face. We'll keep reminding ourselves, we paid for the opportunity to do this. Should be back at the hotel in another couple of miles. Hope the wind's not blowing in the hotel room. Eventually we made it and we started exploring again. We're in the square in Bruges. And it is flat amazing. I don't know everything about Bruges yet, but I know that the Germans talked about demolishing the town when they withdrew after World War II, and the German captain forbade it because he said it was too beautiful. So all of these buildings survived. We made it back to Bruges eventually and continued to explore the city, where we found a cool bike shop that sold wine and beer as well as bike-related items, and of course I bought a jersey. The city is all about chocolate, and also history is over the top. On our final day of cycling, we took another ride through the countryside on what I remember as a chilly morning. Well, we only have 2K to go, and the bike ride portion of this vacation will be over. It's been absolutely amazing. This morning was just kind of a nice ride. It was only about 20K. We rode into a little town, rode over some really, really difficult cobbles, the most difficult we've seen on the trip so far. We're stopped right now just outside of Bruges at the drawbridge. It's a big boat going into the lock just to my right. I'll show you a picture of that. Yet our fun in Bruges was just beginning. It would be a crime to come to the Venice of the North and not take a boat cruise. The same could be said for Belgium and chocolates, so we signed up for a course to make our own. Beer is equally Belgian, so we toured the Zot Brewery, which features an underground beer pipeline that goes about 3K from the historic brewery to a bottling plant outside of town. And what would the last night be without a classic Belgian waffle? A great way to wrap up a week of cycling and indulgence.